Welcome to Streaming News Network by Claude McDaniel. Please like and subscribe.
This is Claude McDaniel with Streaming News Network. A major political upset unfolded in Indiana Tuesday night as Republican challenger Blake Fichter defeated longtime state Senator Travis Holman in a closely watched primary battle. Fichter, a real estate agent backed by President Donald Trump, secured a decisive victory with roughly a 20-point lead when the race was officially called. The contest had drawn national attention after Holman broke with fellow Republicans and joined Democrats in opposing a proposed congressional redistricting plan that would have favored the Republican Party. Political analysts say the outcome is being viewed as a major test of Trump's continued influence within the Republican Party. The former president reportedly invested heavily in efforts to unseat Republicans who opposed his agenda, making this race one of the most closely monitored state-level contests in the country. Holman, who had served in the Indiana State Senate since 2008 and held a senior leadership position within the chamber, became one of the highest-profile Republican incumbents to lose after defying Trump-backed priorities. Observers say the result could send a strong message to other Republican lawmakers facing pressure from Trump-aligned voters ahead of future elections. This is Streaming News Network. Honda is slamming the brakes on a massive electric vehicle expansion project in Canada, marking another setback for the automaker's electric vehicle ambitions in North America. The company has now indefinitely paused plans for a $15 billion Canadian project in Alliston, Ontario, which was expected to include a major electric vehicle assembly plant and battery production facility. The project was first announced in 2024 and had been viewed as a cornerstone of Honda's long-term electric vehicle strategy. Industry analysts say weakening demand for electric vehicles in the United States played a major role in the decision. Instead, Honda is now shifting more focus toward hybrid vehicles, which continue to post strong sales across North America. The move also comes amid changing government policies in the United States, including the rollback of federal electric vehicle incentives and relaxed fuel efficiency regulations, both of which have reduced pressure on automakers to rapidly expand electric vehicle production. Trade tensions and tariff uncertainty between the United States and Canada are also creating challenges for long-term manufacturing investments. Honda had already delayed the Alliston project once in 2025, despite securing land and financial support from the Canadian government. For now, the company says it will continue producing the Civic and the CR-V at its existing Ontario facility, which has operated since 1986. This is Streaming News Network. A Texas jury has sentenced 34-year-old Tanner Horner to death for the kidnapping and murder of 7-year-old Athena Strand, a case that shocked communities across the state. The sentence was handed down Tuesday following more than 2 weeks of court proceedings in Fort Worth. Horner, a former FedEx delivery driver, pleaded guilty last month to capital murder and aggravated kidnapping just before the trial was set to begin. Prosecutors said Athena disappeared in November of 2022 from her family's home in Wise County after Horner had delivered a package to the property earlier that day. Her body was discovered 2 days later. During the emotional sentencing hearing, Athena's uncle told the court the family continues to live with what he called an emptiness that can never be filled. He described Athena as joyful, kind, and full of dreams that were stolen from her. Defense attorneys argued Horner suffered from fetal alcohol syndrome and lifelong cognitive and emotional problems, asking jurors to spare his life. But the jury determined Horner remained a continuing threat to society and rejected a sentence of life without parole. A judge formally sentenced Horner to execution by lethal injection on a date to be determined by the state of Texas. An automatic appeal has already been filed on his behalf. This is Streaming News Network. Authorities in Glendale, Arizona, are continuing an intensive investigation into a deadly mass shooting that erupted during a Cinco de Mayo celebration Sunday night, leaving 3 people dead and 5 others injured. The violence unfolded at a downtown venue known as El Camarón Gigante, where hundreds had gathered for the holiday event. Video recorded inside the club captured the terrifying moments when gunfire suddenly broke out, sending patrons diving to the floor and scrambling for cover. Investigators say the shooting appears to have started after an altercation between 2 groups near the stage. Security staff attempted to break up the dispute, but the confrontation escalated into a deadly exchange of gunfire once the groups were separated from the crowd. Glendale police identified the victims as 21-year-old Milo Zuniga, 17-year-old Davian Sproul, and 21-year-old Christopher Sproul. Detectives say no arrests have been made so far, but they are reviewing extensive video evidence and interviewing witnesses in hopes of identifying those responsible. Police have also created a public tip portal, encouraging anyone with information or cell phone footage to come forward, with anonymous submissions being accepted. Community members are now calling for stronger security measures as the city mourns the victims and searches for answers. This is Streaming News Network. Authorities in Portland, Oregon, are investigating a deadly early morning incident after a man drove a vehicle loaded with explosive devices into a well-known athletic club, triggering a fire and forcing a major emergency response. Police say the crash happened just before 3 o'clock Friday morning at the Multnomah Athletic Club near downtown Portland. Employees reported seeing a car slowly circling the property before it suddenly crashed through the building's front entrance. Moments later, flames engulfed the vehicle, prompting workers to call 911. Responding firefighters discovered the driver dead inside the car and quickly uncovered multiple incendiary and improvised explosive devices, along with propane tanks. Officials say some of the devices had already detonated, while others remained active and dangerous inside the wreckage. Bomb squad crews used robotic equipment to remotely disable the remaining explosives as nearby streets were shut down for public safety. Portland Police Chief Bob Day said investigators believe the incident was isolated and confirmed there is no ongoing threat to the community. Authorities have also ruled out domestic terrorism at this stage of the investigation. The athletic club, founded in 1891 and considered one of the nation's largest private athletic clubs, remains closed while investigators assess the damage. Nearby Providence Park was reportedly unaffected. This is Streaming News Network. A community carnival in Maple Shade, New Jersey, was shut down early Friday night after large groups of teenagers caused disturbances, leading organizers to cancel the event's final and most profitable night. The carnival, held to raise money for the Maple Shade Tigers youth football program, had been scheduled to continue through Saturday. But police say escalating disorder forced organizers to end the event early and call off the remainder of the fundraiser. Witnesses described crowds of teenagers running through nearby streets while officers escorted groups away from the carnival grounds. Authorities say several fights broke out, and officers attempting to disperse the crowds were reportedly met with hostility. Police officials said some teens shouted at officers and attempted to provoke confrontations during the chaotic scene. Investigators are now reviewing social media videos that appear to show fights and police intervention as the situation unfolded. Several teenagers are already facing charges, though officials have not released additional details. Organizers say the cancellation dealt a major financial blow to the non-profit football program, which relies on carnival proceeds to help pay for equipment, uniforms, and helmets for local youth athletes. The incident also comes amid growing concerns across New Jersey over teen-related disturbances at public gatherings and shore destinations. Earlier this year, state lawmakers approved legislation allowing fines for parents of juveniles involved in certain public disruptions. This is Streaming News Network. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni is pushing back against President Donald Trump following reports that the United States plans to withdraw thousands of troops from Germany amid growing tensions with German leadership. Meloni said European nations must continue strengthening their own security efforts, but she also made clear that she does not support the removal of American military forces from Europe. The Italian leader argued that Italy has consistently honored its commitments to the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO, including participating in alliance operations even when Italy's direct national interests were not involved. Meloni suggested her country is being treated unfairly despite years of cooperation and support within the alliance. Her remarks come after Trump announced plans to pull approximately 5,000 U.S. troops from Germany during an escalating dispute with German Chancellor Friedrich Merz. The proposal has sparked concern among several European leaders who fear the move could weaken regional security at a time of ongoing global instability. The White House has defended the decision as part of a broader reassessment of America's military commitments overseas. This is Streaming News Network. A cheerleading event in Myrtle Beach was abruptly canceled Sunday after a stage malfunction at the hangout left one person seriously injured. Officials say the incident happened shortly before the Chill with Chill cheer competition was scheduled to begin Sunday afternoon. According to Myrtle Beach fire officials, none of the athletes or participants involved in the competition were hurt. Event organizers later confirmed that a staff member suffered serious injuries after a large structural backdrop was compromised by strong winds and collapsed near the stage area. Emergency crews responded quickly, and authorities ordered the event canceled for safety reasons. The competition was hosted by FNT Championships in Cheer, which issued a public apology to athletes, families, and coaches affected by the sudden cancellation. Organizers thanked supporters for their patience and asked for continued prayers for the injured staff member. Company owner Rebecca Sherman said safety remained the organization's top priority and that continuing the event under the circumstances was not possible. Officials have not yet released additional details about the injured individual or the extent of the damage caused by the collapse. Hollywood stars Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman may reportedly be moving toward a long-awaited reunion more than 2 decades after their highly publicized divorce. According to reports, the former couple has recently resumed positive conversations and may be planning a private family gathering with their adopted children, Bella and Connor. Sources say the renewed communication was sparked by the tragic deaths of longtime friends Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer Reiner in December of 2025. Cruise and Kidman were married for 11 years before separating in 2001. In the years following their split, the relationship between the two was often described as distant, shaped by personal differences and tensions surrounding Scientology. Reports claim the recent tragedy prompted both actors to reconnect while reflecting on their shared past and longtime friendships. Insiders say the pair have been reminiscing about their early years together, when both couples reportedly socialized frequently during the late 1980s and early 1990s. Sources also say the possible reunion is centered on reconnecting as a family with their children, who were primarily raised by Cruise following the divorce. A quiet private dinner is reportedly being discussed, potentially in London or Florida. Neither Cruise nor Kidman has publicly confirmed the reports. But after years of little to no contact, the possibility of the two reconnecting is already drawing major attention across Hollywood. This has been a report by Claude McDaniel of Streaming News Network.
Thank you for listening to Streaming News Network videos and shorts. Please like and subscribe to our news channel.